Hi everyone, this is Angie with Life in Orlando, and today we are going to talk all about beaches. One of the biggest questions that we receive from both visitors and from people moving to the area is, which beach should I visit, or which coast is better? Which one should I go to? The East Coast, which we often refer to as the Atlantic side, or the beaches on the West Coast, which we often refer to as the Gulf side. The fact is, both beaches are wonderful, both coasts are wonderful, but today we are going to break it down, go through all of the major aspects and all of the pros and cons to determine which beach or which coast is best for you to visit. So let's just dig right in. Let's start with the general location, proximity to the Orlando area, and general ease of access. While we're starting over at the East Coast, we're really looking at those beaches that are considered Central Florida beaches. The main beaches are going to be Cocoa Beach, Daytona Beach, New Smyrna, which is a major locals beach, and then you can go down into the Vero Beach area. There's also a few beaches sprinkled in between there, which are smaller beaches, and also some of the beaches around the Port Canaveral area, which are also really popular with locals. I would say that the most popular one and the most visited beach from the folks in Orlando is definitely Cocoa Beach. Cocoa Beach is going to be around 56 miles from downtown Orlando, and you're looking at around 65 from Disney. Now, the easiest way to get there is to hop right on the 528. Now, this isn't toll road, so keep that in mind. You're also going to hear the 528 referred to the beach line or the B line for locals, basically because you hop on it and it will take you straight to the beach. So that's the easiest way to get over to Cocoa Beach. Now, if you're heading north to Daytona Beach or New Smyrna, that's going to be on I-4. I-4 East can be a little hit or miss. For the most part, it's not too terrible as long as you're not going in the middle of rush hour, but you're really going to drive on I-4 for most of the way. You may have to hop on 95 just for a hot minute, depending on which beach specifically you're going to, but access to both of those beaches it's fairly easy as well. Now, as far as parking goes, how easy it is to get in, I would say that most of the beaches on the East Coast are really easy to access. Parking in Cocoa Beach is very plentiful. It's not that expensive. It just varies depending on the time of year you're going. But it's really easy to get into. It's easy to find. The beaches, for the most part, are fairly easy to get to. The same with Daytona and New Smyrna. Now, of course, you can drive on the beach in areas of both Daytona Beach and New Smyrna Beach. There's a small fee to actually drive on the beach, but if that's your thing, then I would say go for it. Otherwise, there are areas of those beaches that you can't drive on. So just kind of keep that in mind. So let's take a look at the West Coast beaches. Now, the Central Florida West Coast beaches that we're really going to talk most about and are the most popular with people who are coming and driving in from Orlando is going to be Clearwater Beach, which has just boomed and risen in popularity over the past year. That's one of the most popular ones. Also, St. Pete Beach, and you're also going to have a lot of great beaches sprinkled in between Clearwater and St. Pete Beach as well. If you go a little further south, then you're hitting the Sarasota area beaches, and that's going to be Anna Maria Island, Siesta Key. There's a lot of great beaches in that area as well. To reach those beaches, you're going to drive on I-4 west, which can be tricky, I'm not going to lie, especially when you're driving through those main touristy areas around Disney, and there always seems to be some construction on that road. So it really is hit or miss. I would expect delays at any given time. I can't think of a time that we've really driven I-4 west and had super smooth sailing. So just go in with that expectation. From downtown Orlando, Clearwater is a little over 100 miles away from the Disney area. It's around 90-ish miles away. So it is a bit farther than the East Coast. I would say that from a general ease of access, it is a little more difficult to get into there just because you're going in through the causeways. Those can really get backed up. Traffic in Tampa can get backed up. But if you're going for a whole day, it's totally worth it. The beaches over there are stunning and gorgeous, so don't let that deter you. But just plan ahead, especially if you're just going for a day trip. From a parking standpoint, over in the Clearwater area, I would say that can be the trickiest. There's plentiful parking. You're going to find street parking, you're going to find parking lots, you're going to find parking garages. I've seen parking over there anywhere in the garages from $30 all the way up to $50 on busy holiday weekends. So just take that into consideration. Down in the Sarasota area beaches, there's also plentiful parking down in that area. So there shouldn't be an issue finding parking. But when I'm comparing the two sides, the East Coast beaches and the West Coast beaches, and I'm looking at general ease of access, proximity, location, I would have to say that the East Coast beaches are definitely much easier to get to, much easier to access, and much easier and a little cheaper actually to find parking. So the East Coast wins on that part. Let's move in to one of the most important reasons why you're going to the beach: the water, the ocean. Believe it or not, the water is quite different on each of these sides. Starting over on the east side, the water color you're going to find is a little deeper, darker blue. I really love when I see these bands of color in the ocean. Like you'll have a really deep dark blue, and then you'll maybe have a beautiful band of turquoise. I do see that often over on the east side, especially in Cocoa Beach. But for the most part, the water is going to be a little darker. You're also going to have a lot of waves over there, so much so that there are a lot of surfing competitions over on that side. So if you're a surfer, if you want to bodyboard, or if you're just looking for those big waves to jump into, then you're definitely going to find that over on the East Coast or the Atlantic side. So let's talk about water temperature. I've looked up the average water temperature for each of these coasts. Cocoa Beach, you're looking at an average of around 77 degrees, and it reaches a high of 83 degrees. That isn't too far off from what I found from Clearwater Beach, for instance, on the West Coast. However, the water on the East Coast feels so much colder to me. I cannot get in the water before July. Of course, I'm tempered to Florida temperatures, so that may be one reason why. However, it always feels a little cooler to me over on that side for some reason. Now let's go over to the west side. The water on the West Coast is going to be a bit lighter, a bit more clear, as long as you don't have a lot of seaweed or a lot of gook in the water, which does sometimes happen. But on a normal day, it's going to be much more clear. It's going to be lighter. Sometimes it's a really pretty aqua color, which I really love. It's also going to be much calmer. There are waves, don't get me wrong, but they're not going to be as big of waves as you're going to experience over on the east side. I feel that it's calmer. You have more shallow areas over on the Gulf Coast, and to me personally, it feels warmer, which I enjoy. I feel like if you have little ones and you're trying to introduce them to the beach, I feel like that the Gulf Coast could be a really good option for that, just because I think it's a little more calm. So when we're talking about water, for me, because I'm not a surfer, the Gulf side wins, the West Coast Gulf side wins from that standpoint. So let's talk about the other aspect of the beach, which is the sand. Over on the East Coast, the sand is going to be a little more grainier. It's going to be more coarse. It's more yellow. The beach itself, there are some very wide beaches there. Some are not so wide. You're going to have more shallow beach areas there with more shallow sand areas. And you're also going to have some sand dunes over in that area. The sand is still beautiful over there. But if we look at the sand over on the West Coast, that's where you're going to find that really fine, powdery, soft sand. It's also lighter in color. But on the other side, you're going to have really wide beaches in a lot of the areas there, which is beautiful and which is great, except when you're lugging all of your chairs and all of your stuff down to the beach, it can be a little bit of a beast at that time. But for me, I prefer that powdery, soft sand. So for me, the sand over on the West Coast is definitely the winner from that side. So what about things to do at the beach? If you're looking for a lot of activity, if you're looking for boats and for jet skis, volleyball courts, general activity, you're going to find this on both sides actually. Over on the east side, if you're looking for a ton of activity, then you're going to want to hit Daytona Beach or Cocoa Beach. They both have piers, they both have a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars. You're going to find some volleyball courts, you're going to find a lot of things to do and a lot of activity. It's really kind of bustling staying in those two areas specifically. Now, if you move over to the West Coast, Clearwater Beach, St. Pete, that's really where you're going to find the activity. And honestly, Clearwater is going to be the busiest, most bustling spot that you can find. You're going to find tons of boat rentals, jet ski rentals, parasailing, bars, restaurants, live music. If you are looking just for fun and a lot of activity, then Clearwater Beach would probably be a really good fit for you. However, I would say that you can't go wrong on either side when it comes to activities and things to do actually on the beach and in the beach area. But if you're looking on the flip side, what if you don't want all of that noise and all of that activity and you're just looking to kind of wind it down and looking for some quiet time and nice relaxing areas? Totally understandable. And I would also say that both sides of the coast offer that as well. Over on the east side, there's definitely beaches all along the coast, some of the Palm Coast beaches, some of the beaches closer down to the Vero Beach area. You're going to find in the general Cocoa area, what we call kind of the Port Canaveral Beach area, and in the Cocoa Beach area, there's a lot of areas where it's mostly residential, where there's no facilities there, there's nothing there, you're just really going to have the beach. So that can be a really good option for you if you're looking for some peace and quiet. The same over on the West Coast side. In between Clearwater and St. Pete, there's a lot of smaller beaches where you don't have a lot of hotels built up. There's some condos, but it is kind of residential. So you're definitely going to find some quiet areas. So if you're looking for quiet and low key, then you're definitely going to find that on each side of the coast as well. So I would say that that's kind of a tie between things to do and also quiet and low key. Both areas are going to really offer some great options there for you. Now, what about places to stay? Well, if you're going for longer than a day trip, if you want to make a long weekend out of it, or even a week, then you're going to want to find a hotel to stay in. Over on the East Coast, the highest concentration is going to be in Daytona Beach. Cocoa Beach has a ton of hotels. New Smyrna is more of a locals beach. You're not really going to find hotels there, but you're going to find a lot of condos and a lot of kind of residential rentals from that standpoint. If you are a Disney fan, there is a Disney resort right out on the beach, and it is located in Vero Beach. So over on the East Coast, you're going to have no problem finding some great hotels. Over the Cocoa area, the one that's right on the beach that we love, that we typically just visit even for a day trip, is Hilton. It's in a great spot and it's right on the beach, but there's tons over there that are fantastic hotels as well. Now over on the west side, if you're looking in the St. Pete area, you're going to find the famous Pink Castle Hotel Don Cesar, which is just absolutely stunning. Clearwater has a multitude of hotels. I feel like there is a new hotel going up there every other week. I mean, not really, but it kind of seems like it because it's growing so much. You're going to find hotels sprinkled all throughout the area. You're also going to find some condos and maybe some rental houses in there, but mostly hotels and condos. If you are going to be staying for a longer period of time, or you have a lot of people and are looking for maybe a rental house, Anna Maria Island is your spot and your place to go. There are beaches, Holmes Beach, for instance, in Anna Maria Island, where you're going to find loads and loads of houses for rent. These are great for extended stays, or if you have bigger families. I would have to say that from a cost perspective, if you are on a budget, then the East Coast is going to be where you're going to steer toward. The hotels in general over there are just going to be less expensive than most of the hotels you're going to find on the West Coast, especially in Clearwater. Hotels, I feel like, have just gotten so expensive there lately. So if cost is a factor for you, stick to the East Coast, because that's where you're going to find more budget-friendly options, but still great hotels. But they are going to be a little less expensive over there on that side. So which beach should you visit, or which coast should you visit? There are a lot of factors, a lot of them that we just went over. Of course, one thing is going to be sunrise and sunset. If you just love sunrise and you want to be up super early, then you may want to head over to the East Coast, where you're going to find stunning sunrises over there. Or if you're a sunset person, the sunsets on the West Coast are just absolutely gorgeous. How do we decide which beach we are going to go to? We are Orlando locals living here in Southeast Orlando area, and here is how we determine which beach to visit. If we are going for a few hours in the afternoon, or for half a day, or just want an easy, low-key day where we can just hop over to the beach, chill for a few hours, or have some food and have some drinks, then we are going to go over to the East Coast, specifically Cocoa Beach or New Smyrna Beach. That's our go-to places over there. If we want a very long beach day, if we want to be out the door by 8 o'clock and not come back until later at night, or if we are spending the night, then we are going over to the West Coast. Specifically, we are over in Clearwater Beach or over in the Siesta Key area if we have enough time for that. So that's really how we determine personally. I really love both beaches. Both are so unique and they both have pros and cons. We really love them both. Personally, I prefer the Gulf side and the West side. However, I love the ease of access and how easy it is just to hop over to the beach on the east side. So thank you so much, everyone. If this information was helpful to you, please like the video. It would really mean a lot. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and follow me for more videos about Orlando and Central Florida beaches. Thanks so much. Have a great day.